Hello, this is Mike Brown and welcome to the New York State Notary Public Association February 2017 refresher video training. This month's topic will be active licensed members of the association problem calls that we've received on our free Notary Public Procedure Questions hotline at 347-427-9091. We have received 17 calls already in the first 12 days of the month, as today's recording date is February 12th. Hope you're enjoying the snowstorm. The most common problems are variations of these improper certificate scenarios, and these are just four of the more serious calls we've had. Number one, we had a member had contracts rejected by a party to an agreement because she failed to include her statement of authority. So, improper certificate procedure. Number two, we had a member was asked to notarize a document from another jurisdiction which did not meet the requirements of New York State statutes and was illegally formatted. We had another call from a member who asked to notarize something that did not have a notary certificate to fill out and how to do that. And then we had somebody that was a notary who called, who was being investigated by the state for filling out a notary certificate, including his statement of authority. His stamp was on there, and then he failed to sign the certificate. So that's pretty serious stuff. So let's review what the goals are for the document originator and then the signer who appears before you. So there's always an originator who created the document with a notary certificate for you to fill out when it gets to you, or no notary certificate and still wants it notarized, or they have an improper one, maybe from another state that doesn't go by New York State statutes. Then you follow New York State executive law and accept the certificate if it's in line, or you reject the certificate outright if it's one of the reasons you can't accept it, or you choose to correct and then notarize the document according to New York State statute requirements. As we've covered before, you can make pen and ink changes with black ink. Then the notarized document is accepted or recorded at its final destination, or sometimes rejected, which we just showed examples of your fellow notary publics are experiencing. So what we're saying, the theme of this month is, do not rely on the document source. Okay? Somebody creates a document requiring a party to execute or sign and have it notarized. Either A, they include a proper New York notary certificate, or B, there is an improper certificate, maybe from another jurisdiction, and C, they did not include any notary certificate for the notary to fill out. So it's always one of those scenarios that face you every time somebody brings you something. The New York notary must assess if the certificate meets New York State guidelines or not before proceeding. You can accept, correct with black ink, or reject it. So you can accept it or correct it with black ink and reject it. Maybe they left out the venue. How would somebody sending somebody a document when their office who created the document is in New Jersey, how would they know what your venue is, where it comes to you? How would they know that a New York notary public is always required to write State of New York, County of, and then the county where you are? So inevitably, you have to make corrections if you wish to not break the law. So the normal path of a notary certificate is somebody is a creator of a document, can be from anywhere in the world. We're allowed to notarize things from any other jurisdiction, even foreign countries, and a difference in jurisdiction could be the federal government versus the state or other states. So the creator of the document sends that to a customer, and A, either it's from inside New York when it gets to you, or B, it's from another jurisdiction, or C, somebody who knows New York statutes does it properly, and D, someone who does not know New York statutes prepared it, or maybe they just put a line for you to sign it. That's incomplete. So you the notary receives something to witness, and you must assess if it's proper. When you complete it, you hand it to the customer who appeared before you, and then they're going to do one of two things. Either they're going to have to return it to the customer, returns the document to the creator, because that was the instructions, who then either accepts or rejects the notary certificate. So sometimes it goes back to the person. More often than not, it goes back to the person who created it and gave it to somebody to bring to you. That's who it goes back to, and they can reject it because they set the standards. Or the other thing is, it goes to a third party who either accepts or rejects the notary certificate. So anytime these two who have the legal right to reject your certificate reject it, if that's due to an error on your behalf, you could be sued in civil court. So summary: someone created a document to be notarized, and once notarized, it will be returned to the originator or sent to a third party to be recorded as complete. The document was presented to you to notarize, and you A, completed the certificate, or B, rejected it, or C, corrected it with your black pen. Then the notarized document was filed, A, back with the originator, or B, to a designated third party. Then the originator or designated third party, A, accepts the document, or B, rejects it. Then, if the document is rejected due to your negligence, you could suffer suspension or loss of license as a notary, and potentially being sued for damages in civil court by any of the aforementioned parties to the instrument. So, your fellow Notary Association members have been getting in trouble more than ever, and this has kind of raised a great concern to me. Partially because we've had so many members and we're getting a bigger sample joining, but also I asked myself, what are the reasons for increased demand and variations of documents being presented for notary causing this confusion? I mean, I've never seen so many problems arising to where it's raised such a concern because of the amount of problems our members are now having. And I thought a lot about this over the years, and it's really kind of reached a crescendo. So the short answer is, and that is that an increased white-collar crime and subsequently more private individuals, corporations, and government agencies have needed to raise the level of accountability of people signing things in agreement. And in layman's everyday terms, that means that people do not keep their word like they used to. So they need the threat of criminal prosecution or perjury to hold them accountable more than ever. That would be a state witness called a notary public giving an oath under penalty of perjury when they sign things. And that function has become increasingly important in our lawless society. So these monthly refresher trainings are designed to keep you current on any new changes in the statutes and to remind you of basic statutes that you learned to pass the exam. It is apparently no longer enough for many of you. Why? When did you join and start receiving the newsletters? How much has changed since you were licensed? When you scored a 70% or above on the exam to qualify, how much of the 30% left over did you still not know? A notary exam has only 40 questions, and I came up with several hundred potential questions when I designed the exam prep licensing trainings so that anything that was asked, you'd be prepared. For example, when I was licensed approximately 28 years ago in New York as a notary, I had to study a 5-page, size 12 font Notary Public Licensing Law Statutes booklet for the exam. I took it in Newburgh, New York at the time. They used to have it at an armory. It's no longer there now. It's at a Ramada Inn. So, in the last law book issued, which was in June of 2016, there are 17 pages now. 17. And they're all on a size 8 font. So it went from a 5-page 12 font, big, to a 17-page small font, 8. So I took some time and I figured this out. So if my math is correct, there is an increase of approximately 452% new laws to study to pass the exam, which still only has 40 questions, of which you can miss 30%. So I think you can see the compounding effect here that causes a problem in society. So it's not your fault for not knowing it all. However, it is still incumbent upon you to seek out and update yourself on all the statutes, or you can subject yourself to big problems. And part of that's for new legislation that's coming out all the time. The state does not send you anything to alert you that new laws have come out. That's why we have these free monthly newsletters. So we realize that no continuing education being required by the state is convenient in your busy lives. However, we have experienced an exponential increase in calls from your fellow state officers who are experiencing problems daily with the increased volume of things to be notarized and the variations of documents presented to them to notarize from New York and other jurisdictions, including from anywhere in the world. And now, the whole immigration thing has an effect on that. So recently, in the last 2 weeks, just 3 of your fellow Notary Association free members are even facing charges this month alone. And it's only the 12th of the month, so that's a pretty good, sample. I think, you realize what's going on. And a lot of you probably have problems and you don't call. So there is a solution, like Einstein said, problem solving requires new approaches. And I'm not the most intelligent guy in the world, and I'm certainly not Einstein. But when there's a will, there's a way. So I've come up with the solution, the 2017 Licensed Notary Public Review. And I'm posting a recorded webinar training to bring everyone current on the statutes. And it's not for people studying to pass the exam. So if you're here trying to learn free information to pass the notary exam, this is not for you. This will only be for our members, and it's for people who have been licensed for a long time and are not up to speed through no fault of their own, which I just proved, of which I would be in that category myself, except I'm teaching the law, so I have to stay current. This is even for lawyers that went to law school a while ago. It is for people just licensed also who need advanced understanding that just crawled through the exam. And it will be hosted on a cloud platform you need a password to get into it, with a 24/7 access for your convenience because of our busy lives and schedules. Maybe you can't sleep at night and you need something to do for an hour to get sleepy. You watch this. It will have a test, and you must pass, because upon completion of passing the online exam for the Licensed Notary Public Review, you'll receive a completion certificate. So I haven't built it yet, but that's the solution I came up with. And I want you to watch your email for the comprehensive refresher training sign-up link that I haven't created yet. I'll try to have it up and running by the end of this month. So right now I'm creating that syllabus with new tools in there. And once again, this is not to pass the exam. This is to study procedures and things that are not covered by preparing for the exam. So you had a problem, and we're going to give you the solution. Now, if you're not a member of the Notary Association yet, and you're a notary and you see this video somewhere on YouTube or on social media, you can sign up for free at notarypublicnewyork.com or howtobecome-a-notary-in-new-york.com. That's it for this month. Hope you enjoy the snowstorm. We'll see you next month.
I've had this problem.
Big problem.
I really needed
A good school.
And I kept searching.
and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list.
But I finally did it.
Yes. Thank you.
If you were looking for one as well,
Look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine.
Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend.
Problem gone.
thank you.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.